All right. It is time for episode 53 of Angel in the Afternoon. I'm your host, Angel Rivera, of course, and today we have a number of topics, everybody, including I'm going to go over Jill Stein's platform. I will also go through um Biden and Trump finally agreeing to a debate or a couple of debates. Bear with me 1 second. My mouse is kind of broken here, so I have to use the trackpad on my laptop. So if you guys would just bear with me 1 second while I get myself situated, I greatly appreciate it. Hope everybody had a great week. I hope everyone has a great weekend. And we will also be going over polling that shows Joe Biden being in deep trouble, very deep trouble. His chances at re-election are almost zero. Even CNN is admitting this, which is rather interesting. So we'll get to that as well. Oops. And let's see. I got to get rid of a lot of these tabs because they're probably going to slow down my computer. I have like a million tabs open as I usually do. So, okay, that's fine. Thank you for joining us, though. And please give me a like, please subscribe, and oops. And thank you. So I do want to get started with Jill Stein's platform, but of course, as usual, I didn't bookmark it, so let me find it in the meanwhile. So yeah, Jill Stein officially is running for president again on the Green Party ticket, and she's quite frankly platform. It's like the same old thing. It's the same thing over and over again. It's like, uh, yeah. The only issue that I have with Jill Stein is her pro lockdown policies. She was pro lockdowns during the pandemic, so yeah, I don't like that. I also just didn't like not I don't think her specifically, but the Green Party definitely did Russiagate when Trump was president, which is another issue. Like, yeah, you're not supposed to just read off all the Democratic Party talking points. Like that's not what you're supposed to be doing. And so I've had my issues with the Green Party. Like there's like plenty of issues that I've had and that I've disagreed with. Even though I did vote for Jill Stein in 2016, I didn't vote in 2020. Or I didn't vote for her in 2020 at least. So yeah, there's a bunch of crap here. Oops. Oh, come on. See, I hate using the trackpad on my laptop, but of course, since my mouse is broken now, I don't have much of a choice. So let's do this and do that. Thank you for joining us, No Himbo and Steph and a bunch of other people here. Uh, give me a like if you haven't already. Thank you. So yeah, this is kind of Jill Stein's platform, and it's very wordy, very lengthy, and very just all right. So democracy. I mean, that one really interests me. Labor, okay. La la la. People's economy. Yeah, this is discrimination over anti-discrimination. Okay. Oh, come on. It's right there. Motherfucker. I'm not gonna go through this whole thing because it's way too long, but I'll go through some of it. Thank you, bad cookies. Please give me a like. You don't need to see my face, so let's just do this. Uh, make this bigger. All right, that's good enough. You don't need to see my face for this. So, democracy. So let's Our democracy is on life support. Belief in our political system is at historic lows, and the number of Americans who feel neither the establishment party represents them is at a record high. Researchers have found that U.S. government is an oligarchy, blah, 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 blah. Wall Street parties have systematically concentrated power hands of the wealthy, blah, blah, blah. Tell me something I don't know. Okay. Full and meaningful participation in democracy is a human right. Except democracy doesn't work for any of us, but unless you're rich. But yeah, we need to revive our democracy with the full spectrum of reforms to empower the people, including real choice on the ballot. Because without freedom of choice in election, there's no democracy. A Jill Stein administration will replace the exclusionary two-party corporate system with an inclusive multi-party democracy through ranked choice voting and proportional representation. again, again, the same fucking thing happens with this. Uh, uh, Ranked choice voting. Here's the thing: ranked choice voting. It's not a panacea. Ranked choice voting basically is there's two. You get to choose your candidates 1 through 5 or whatever many candidates there are. Let's say you vote for Jill Stein first. Second, you put Joe Biden on the list. Since Jill Stein's not going to win, your vote automatically transfers over to Joe Biden. This makes privileged white liberals feel comfortable voting for the Green Party because they can virtue signal and vote for the Green Party all day long, knowing that their vote eventually is going to go to the Democrat because they put Democrat number 2. So ranked choice voting is all about making white Democrat liberals feel good about their Green Party vote. Implement ranked choice voting for all elections nationwide. Again, the obsession with ranked choice voting. Implement proportional representation for all legislative elections. I don't know what that means. Proportional representation. Work to overturn Citizens United and Buckley v. Vallejo, and abolish corporate personhood by constitutional amendment. Yeah, here's the thing with it. There's a giant misunderstanding. Hey, and the chat's not updating. Excuse me. Thank you. What's up? What's up? Thank you very much for joining me, everybody. Here's the thing: the issue with corporate personhood. I mean, it's a lot of it's misunderstood. I think because when you have like a large corporation, usually there's like one person runs a company, so that one person would sign off on everything from checks to decisions when it comes to the companies and stuff like that. When you have like a large corporation, there's no one person that actually owns it. It's usually publicly owned, which means that there's millions and millions and millions of owners, not just one. So you need to have one person, either like a CEO or a chairman, to sign off for everything that the company does. And when that happens, that's corporate personhood has been a legal principle since like the beginning of jurisprudence in the United States. So it's not something if you overturn it via constitutional amendment, what you're doing is basically you're banning these large public corporations, which you may think is a good thing, but at the same time, I think there's like a misunderstanding when it comes down to that. Institute full public financing of elections, getting the corrupting influence of private money out of politics, and putting the people back in. Instituting public financing. That's not a panacea either, because it's because elections are publicly financed doesn't mean that politicians will stop being corrupt. Corruption is always going to be part of Washington. Even if you get rid of all private money in elections, abolish the electoral college, and elect the president via national popular voting using ranked choice voting. Again, with the ranked choice voting, it's like 3 or 4 times that ranked choice voting has showed up already. Here's the thing: you can't getting rid of electoral college is a mistake, because if you get rid of electoral college and institute like majority electing presidents based on popular vote, then what's going to happen is New York, California, all the big states will decide who the president is, and the other states would it just be pointless in voting because because the most popular places in the country will decide the election. Let's say New York and California consistently vote for Democrats, which they do. The Democrat will win forever, which is why, this policy of abolishing the electoral college makes no damn sense. But of course, it's a liberal virtue signaling. Jimmy Dore pushes ranked choice voting. I haven't really watched much of Jimmy Dore recently, so I don't know what he's actually pushing and what he isn't. But ranked choice voting, like I said, is just a way to have white upper middle class liberals virtue signal by saying, "Hey guys, I voted for the Green Party." Actually, my second choice was Joe Biden, which means when Jill Stein doesn't get enough votes to win, then my vote will automatically go to Joe Biden. So they get to have their cake and eat it too. Because ultimately they know their vote's going to Joe Biden, which is why they're all advocating for ranked choice voting. Support a modern voting days Voting Rights Act, including nonpartisan redistricting commissions and same-day voter registration nationwide. Same-day voter registration. Here's the thing with that. I yeah, Even though some people argue how racist this is, you need to have some sort of identification in order to vote. Because especially in 2020, there was issues with when they sent out ballots to hundreds of millions of addresses around the country. We had no idea where those ballots were going. They could have been going to abandoned houses. We all know there's plenty of those around the country, and people could have been grabbing these ballots, filling them out, and just sending them back in without any. That's why there were a lot of shenanigans in 2020. A lot of issues with the automatically sending out ballots, to every home or apartment around the country. So nobody knew what was happening. Nobody knew who voted. Nobody knew if you were allowed to vote or not. But all these votes were coming in anyways and had to be counted by hand, which took forever. And then there were issues in elections throughout the country where they had to stop counting. They had to stop counting because there were issues. And then once they started counting again and updating these websites, it turned out that Joe Biden got 100% of the vote in one county, which is literally impossible. There's no way that a candidate could get 100% of the votes in a county. It happened. I think it happened. I don't remember exactly where it happened, but I do remember seeing this on Twitter on election day, or X now as it called. So yeah, you need to have some sort of identification in order to vote. You need to have some sort of security. You can't just say, "Oh no, automatic first day voter registration." That's allowed, even though you have no way to ID this person whether they're a citizen or not. It just, "Oh yeah, I want to vote. Oh yeah, I'm a citizen. Okay, here's a first election day registration ballot, and you get to vote that day, and we will count your vote." I mean, it shouldn't work that way, but of course, liberals want to do that. Make election day a federal holiday. Okay, I'm whatever. I don't. That's fine. Expanding polling locations and make free vote by mail an option for all election and expand polling locations. See, another thing, they're obsessed with the vote by mail thing. Unless you have a very specific reason why you need to vote by mail, then voting by mail shouldn't be allowed. Like, let's say you're like you're living in Europe, or you're living in Canada or Mexico or Japan or whatever. Then that's different. Then you can vote by mail or go to your local embassy and vote there. That's different. However, just randomly sending out um, excuse me, mail-in ballots for no reason is something that I'm against myself. End all discriminatory voting laws and purging of voting rolls. Uh, okay, sometimes you need to purge voting rolls because people have died, people have stopped voting, people have people have died or stopped voting, or they don't want to vote anymore. Which I just said that, but I digress. There's a lot of reasons why you should purge voting rolls, because ultimately not everybody votes. People die, people move, so it makes no sense to keep people's name on the voting rolls indefinitely for no reason, even though, like I said, there's many reasons why things happen. I'm 100% certain you haven't bothered vetting Jill Stein's record. I voted for Jill Stein in 2016. I know her record, and I'm reading her platform right now. So yeah, I oh no, I mean, I don't know what you're. I thank you for the chat though. Greatly appreciate that. Let's see, where was I? Expand initiative registration. Blah blah blah. Where was I? Ah, here we go. Allow those who are under supervision or incarcerated to vote in elections and be counted by the district they reside in before incarceration. Oh, great. So we're talking about letting people in prison vote who most likely would vote for Democrats, who will increase the Democratic Party representation in Congress. That makes no sense. I mean, why? I mean, I don't understand. Like, let's let every single solitary person vote in the country, no matter if they're allowed to or not. Oh, yeah, so I'm guessing she's in favor of restricting, stop the restrictions of felons. They allow felons to vote. Let's see. Expand initiative referendum and recall powers to every state and nationally. Okay, I'm fine with that. I mean, you would want to have the right to recall your elected leaders, so that's a good thing. Ensure open debates on public channel, including all qualified ballot candidates. That's fine. Provide free public airtime for all. Okay, that's fine too. Oppose censorship by both sides of the government. Defend freedom of the press by applying antitrust law to media and conglomerates. Great. Again, a lot of this I agree with. Expand the freedom and information law and whistleblower protections. Great. Again, I'm in favor of that. Protect the free internet and net neutrality. Definitely in favor of that because I'm on the internet. Excuse me, and so is most Americans these days. Not most Americans do podcasts, but still, I mean, it's important to have net neutrality and free internet. Safeguard election integrity with hand counted paper ballots and routine post-election audits. Again, that's good too. I'm fine with that. Lower the voting age to 16. Definitely not fine with that. I think it should be up to 21. You shouldn't be voting at 18 either. But that's all my personal opinion. Grant immediate statehood to the District of Columbia. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. The District of Columbia is never meant to be a state. It is always meant to be a federal district, like a property and stuff, like a federal district in order to run the country from. It's never meant to be state. Was never meant to do anything other than just be a federal district. The people who live in Washington D.C., you want to give them representation in Congress and the Senate. That's fine. Just cede the land back to Maryland. There's like they cede the land back to Maryland. So have a Democratic senator, two Democratic senators represent them, and have representation in Congress. So I think it's highly sus that Jill is being endorsed by post duopoly peeps. Automatic runoff. The runoff is a classic one person, one vote. Your ballot already shows your preferences, and your full vote automatically goes to the finalist. I mean, yeah, I don't mind having a runoff. I mean, as long the thing of it is, it's like really. I mean, I and a lot of these voter reforms I don't really like personally. And this whole give statehood to the District of Columbia makes no sense. If you're worried about the people who live in Washington, get like I said, cede the land back to Maryland, so they have all the voting rights. They have all the rights to vote for president. Actually, they already have the right to vote for president. But if they want representation in Congress, just give the land back to Maryland. That's it. Instead, we're having conversation about a 51st state. Okay, great. Who's going to be the 52nd state? All right, this is where we get to this. Ensure self determination in Puerto Rico and other colonial territories under U.S. rule. Replace partisan oversight of our elections and presidential debates with independent, nonpartisan election commissioners or commissions. So, who's going to elect these commissions? How that's going to work? I mean, this should be more explained more. Again, I'm fine with self determination in Puerto Rico. I mean, I'm pretty sure that Puerto Rico has voted for statehood in the past, and I'm sure they would love to join the union. Let's see, increased number of Supreme Court justices from 9 to 18. So we're talking about doubling the Supreme Court justices. So who's going to appoint them? A President Jill Stein, I'm sure. And then all of a sudden, you're going to have a lot of conservatives and centrists complaining about how all of a sudden the Supreme Court is extremely liberal with 18-year term limits staggered so that one seat opens per year. Yeah, I don't know how that. I mean, I'm not in favor of that. I mean, the Supreme Court is already as partisan as it is, and now all of a sudden we're talking about making it more partisan with 18 with term limits. I mean, you would have to overturn that part of the Constitution that clearly says lifetime appointments. I mean, you can't just pass a law saying, "Oh yeah, by the way, you have to have 18-year term limits." That's not how it works. It clearly says in the Constitution lifetime term limits for a reason. Hold on. Excuse me. uh, Enough Ricans joined the Marines. Yeah, that is true, Doctor Nick. They might as well be a state. Yeah, but again, like I don't agree with the idea of making DC a state. I mean, you can always give the land, Washington give the land back to Maryland. That the people live in. So there's really no reason to make DC a state. Require a supermajority of 2/3 of the Supreme Court for judicial review of federal laws. So they're talking about overturning Madison v. Marbury, which gave was something called judicial review. So now they want to overturn judicial review, which again that's very authoritarian because the judicial review is like it gives the courts the right to review every single law that's passed, which should be a good thing. Liberals are like, no, 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 that's not a good thing. That's a bad thing. We have to we have to get rid of judicial review. Enact a binding code of ethics for all judges, including Supreme Court justice. I'm fine with that. Prohibit lobbying any kinds by former members of Congress. I'm fine with that. Ban stock trading by legislators. I'm fine with that. Ban government contractors from donating to political campaigns. Whatever. Prohibit Congress from giving themselves any benefits to not give to the people. I'm definitely fine with that. Like for example, right now Congress they have gold-plated, excellent health care. They have excellent benefits. They make a six-figure salary from being from basically a part-time job, and and if they want to give themselves benefits, that's fine. But people deserve those benefits too. It's like we shouldn't get screwed over because politicians want to take donations from special interest groups. Create a federal Department of Equity to ensure that the design and implementation of all policies, including climate policies, are equitable, as opposed to the historic victimization of poor and marginalized communities. And this is, I don't know. I'm Puerto Rican. I am a part of a minority, but I'm just, uh, Jesus Christ. And I'm sick of all these. So yeah, there's crime, there's healthcare, prisons and policing. There's a long list. Social justice, tribal indigenous sovereignty, blah blah blah. Reparations in the agenda to facilitate Black liberation. All right. In addition to so let's see. If participation in voting is encouraged, isn't that an endorsement of the crooked system already in place? Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that, Doctor Nick. I mean, that's why I don't encourage voting. I don't encourage voting. I don't encourage for you guys to vote. If you want to vote, great. It's fine. If you don't want to vote, that's fine too. I really don't. It's not like I'm looking to tell you one way or another who to vote for or who not to vote for, or if you should vote or you shouldn't vote. Let's see. Voting is a tool of the state designed to maintain the status quo and perpetuate the power of the ruling class. 100%. And that must and I completely agree with that quote. Sorry. How can you be revolutionary if you're encouraging participation in the political process? Again, that's 100% true. I mean, this is Jill Stein is ultimately just a white liberal who's not a Democrat. She's a Green, but a lot of Democrats are in the Green Party. So look at Howie Hawkins, the man who ran in 2020, a man who ran for the presidency in 2020. He Russiagated. He sounded like your standard Democrat. So yeah, these are the Green Party comes across to me as they're a small part of Democratic Party. Even and there are times where they virtue signal and talk about how horrible the Democrats are, but ultimately they agree with a lot of Democratic Party policy. So reparations and the agenda to facilitate Black liberation. I don't really have an opinion on reparations. I mean, there's some people that are favor reparations, and there's some people that are against it. I mean, it's like I don't I don't have an opinion one way or another on it because I don't know enough about it, quite frankly. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm against it or I'm in favor of it because I don't know enough. But I'm good. I'm just going to read this straight up as the way as it's written, and then I'll give my opinion. Direct all federal agencies to consider it include race and ethnicity as a part of their initiative and other programs that are implemented with federal dollars. To consider race and ethnicity. It's like, okay, let's virtue signal. This is how it comes across. I could be wrong, and if somebody wants to make me understand this, that's great. But it looks like it's like, make sure you consider black people and minorities first and discriminate against white people. That's how this whole thing's come across. But again, I could be wrong on that, and that on that interpretation. Overturned the harmful Alexander versus Sandoval Supreme Court decision that currently increases the burden or eliminates private rights of action against entities that violate Title VI and other mandates contained in the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Okay. Yeah, I don't really have an opinion on that. I mean, I don't understand what that really means, but okay. Promulgate a moratorium on all proposed cop cities and end federal investments in such facilities. Okay, I mean, I don't like those cop cities either, but I don't. I would. I like there's a lot of protests at these cop cities, especially the one I believe in Georgia, where the Fulton County's office, the same office that's prosecuting Donald Trump, is now prosecuting those protesters under the same law, the RICO Act, which they're prosecuting Donald Trump over. You see this. It's as George Carlin says. There's a big club and you ain't in it. So let's see. Establish a national office of civilian oversight committees to ensure greater transparency and accountability for citizen law enforcement departments, for civilian law enforcement departments. Each state and each city handles their own police department. So to establish a national office, I don't know how that would work, because if you want to promote, okay, let's have a policy where we encourage each state and each city to create their own, citizen accountability committees for police departments. I'm fine with that. But having a national one, I mean, that's that takes it too far for me. Take it too far for me. At least, I don't want the federal government, reaching in too much for what the states should be doing. Establish a multi-agency federal returning citizens task force to assist and provide resources for the formerly incarcerated in an effort to expedite their journey back to full citizen status, including not limited to immediate restoration of voting rights in most cases. Establish a multi-agency federal returning citizens task force. I don't even know what that even is. Like, are we talking about citizens that are returning from a foreign country after living in a foreign country? That one I don't really understand much. Increase investment in historically black colleges and universities, and leverage the power of the federal government to force states to compensate state-run land grant HBCUs the more than $13 billion they're owed. Apparently, black colleges, universities are owed $13 billion. I don't know why or how, but okay. Increase investments in programs that support black-owned businesses. Again, comes across as discriminatory, but whatever. Ensure that universal single-payer healthcare system addresses and resolves the issues and outcome disparities for the black community, in particular black women. So, okay, fine, you want to create a single-payer healthcare system, but at the same time, you want to. I don't understand any of this, and what's the point of it? But LOL, Stein is what Dowd made her. Uh, Yeah, and let's see. You're currently taking this rotten oligarchy and legitimizing the entire system beyond Barworthy tripe. Yeah, which is why I don't. I mean, this platform sounds nice, but at the same time, I don't like it. Which black-owned businesses? Again, Doctor Nick, I don't know. I mean, this is like this comes across as every black business. Like, and basically says screw white people and screw Puerto Ricans and screw everybody else except for black people. Eliminate food deserts, where fresh produce and food sovereignty is largely unavailable, a condition that which disproportionately impacts black communities. I don't know enough about food. A lot of this sounds like just college educated virtue signaling because I never heard of the same. I never heard of food desert. I assume these are areas that don't have enough food, but that's where you have food pantries. But again, I'm not understanding a lot of this, which is why if I'm wrong, I'm open minded to learning. Work with Congress and federal agencies to codify the Justice for Black Farmers Act. Again, what about justice for Hispanic farmers? There's a lot more Hispanic farmers than black farmers, but again, this is virtue signaling towards African Americans. Eliminate white nationalists from police forces by federal law. Again, how do you know who's a white nationalist and who isn't? You just virtue saying, "Oh yeah, get rid of all white nationalists from police forces." That's fine. I mean, I wouldn't want white nationalists in police forces either, but the federal government should not be passing laws, saying that. And ensure white nationalist group activities are routinely monitored due to white nationalist violence being the greatest single source of domestic terrorism. Yeah, like, I mean, except that you're talking about monitoring. Like what? The FBI is just going to be monitoring nationalist groups, white nationalist groups. I mean, you're looking at a situation where you're this is literally discrimination against white people. I mean, that's what we're looking at here. It's like, nope, let's just watch them because white people are dangerous. That's how this comes across. Ensure the Civil Office Civil Rights is fully funded staff and fulfills the obligation to protect the civil rights of marginalized communities. Restore Section 4B and 5 1965 Voter Rights Act and permanently certify the entire law. Address blah, blah, blah. I literally don't understand that. Addressing the legacy of redlining through programs deliver and recompense for black homeowners who values are adversely and disproportionately impact to this day by the systematically racist practice. Redlining. Food deserts, food deserts are neighborhoods without really access to grocery stores or fresh food. All right, that makes sense, and I should have probably thought of it that way. But thank you very much for that explanation. Uh, Federal moratorium on new construction of fossil fuel infrastructure and other polluting operatives in or approximate to black and other environmental justice communities. So, can I ask the question? How would we generate the energy that we all use in this country? I mean, I don't like the idea of putting dirty fossil fuel in our air supply either. But I'm wondering how we're supposed to generate enough of the electricity that we all use. Because at the same time, these liberals, like these Green Party liberals, want to shut down nuclear power plants, and nuclear power plants is the only other way we know how to create electricity. If you want to get rid of fossil fuels, that's fine, but you're gonna have to build more nuclear power plants, or else we're not gonna have enough power, and we're gonna get constant blackouts because you want to get rid of fossil fuels too. So you can't have it both ways. Either you do the fossil fuels or you build more nuclear power plants. And I know the concern about these nuclear power plants melting down and what happened in Chernobyl, but ultimately it's either build more nuclear power plants or generate more fossil fuels and dirty energy, not dirty energy, but that dirty way to create electricity. Nuclear. Yeah, I said, some people pronounce it nuclear. I pronounce it nuclear. Massive reinvestment from policing and prisons into social, economic, or other programs that leads directly to community benefits. In other words, defund the police, which again in states like California, New York, and state and cities that have done defund the police, crime has gone up. Like in San Francisco, you can't go to San Francisco without being robbed or without having your car stolen or without having something happen to you. It's it's absurd. Same thing in Los Angeles. Did you and did you guys know about San Francisco that they talk about? There's a policy in San Francisco that gives away free alcohol to homeless people. I'm not making that up. That's literally true. I'm not making that part up. That's literally true. There's a program in San Francisco where they spend around $5 million a year to give alcohol to homeless people. Alcohol, free alcohol from the government. I was like, really? They give away free alcohol to homeless people. I'm not making that up. I mean, this is real. This is absolutely 100% real. Uh, trying to find a source which is not Fox News. Oh, here we go. Yahoo Finance. That's definitely not Fox News. I'm not making this up. This is straight up what's going on in San Francisco. I'm glad that that made me talking about crime. Made me remember this. So, San Francisco taxpayers forced to fund free alcohol for homeless. California tax rates increased further, prompting more exodus. Yep, keep us all drunk so you can't rise up against the elites. I couldn't believe it when I read this, or I guess it would be cheaper to skip the middleman and just give them alcohol. I was like, let me move to San Francisco. Give me free alcohol. It's ridiculous. California already held the distinction of being the highest state income tax in the country, with its tax income rate of 13.3% for a decade. It was raised even more started 2024. Now the top rate reaching 14.4%. Higher earners are contributing to California's economy might be disappointed to hear of a new taxpayer-funded program in San Francisco that sparked outrage among locals. According to the San Francisco Chronicle, the city spends $5 million a year on managed alcohol program, a program providing free alcohol to the city's homeless alcoholics. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's make homeless people more drunk so they can go out and commit more crimes. Because when you're drunk, you're going to commit more crimes. Brilliant, brilliant. That I would rather give them a home, clean water, and fresh food. Yeah, that would probably make better way to spend that money than to just give them alcohol. City public officials argue that the program benefits, citing emergency room declines, saved from reduced hospital visits, and relief for the city's already strained emergency services. So somehow giving them more alcohol lowers emergency room visits from homeless people because they're drunk, so they can't go to the emergency room, or they won't go to the emergency room because they don't realize they need help. However, residents such as a small business owner and chair of the Salvation Army San Francisco Metro Advisory Board questioned the city approach. Mr. Nathan, who raised the attention of the controversial program, explained it as set up so people in the program just walk in, grab a beer, and then another one. And that inside the lobby, they have kegs set up to taps where they're basically giving out free beer to the homeless who've been identified with an alcohol use disorder. This is a talking point that a lot of people have where alcoholism is a sickness. So instead of trying to cure that sickness, they decided to just enable it, and it's like, here, free beer. Here's a keg, drink all you want. This is beyond absurd to me. So yeah, I did not make that up. I mean, it's literally there. It's literally there. It's just beyond ridiculous. So let's get back. Let's get back to Jill Stein's platform. I'm just gonna finish this up and then we'll move on to the next story. Work with Congress and impacted community members to draft and pass the Justice for Cancer Cali Alley Act that will include compensation and free healthcare in perpetuity for victims in this region who have been subjected to environmentally racist practices for decades. So these are people who had pollution in their neighborhoods to get free healthcare for the rest of their lives. Look, you might as well do it for all Americans, including them, so you don't. have to worry about it. But no, it's just for people in that region who have been sick. Movement for Black Lives, coordinate with Black led formations, including and not limited to the Black Hive at Movement for Black Lives to codify proposals and demand included in their Black climate mandate. Oh wow, black people, black organizations have their own climate mandate. Okay. Coordinate with black led formations, including and not limited to the Black Alliance for Peace, to promulgate their free zone of peace strategies that combat and dismantle larger structures and interests that generate war and state violence, colonialism, patriarchy, capitalism, and all forms of imperialism, both domestically and internationally. Whoa, that was a mouthful. And I got lost halfway. I have no idea what she's trying to say there at the end. But yeah, let's see. Oh, what a surprise! What a surprise! We need critical thinking or whatever the fook isn't here to talk to Angel, but clogged to HLM's chats with attacks. Yeah, I saw. I was there this morning when we need critical thinking kept going after Indian stuff in the HLM in the Heartlands media chat. So stupid. I mean, he or she, whoever that is, been in my chats before, but she's apparently not here today. So whatever. My battery is dying. Whatever. LGBTQIA plus rights. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, QIA plus. I have no idea what any of that is, but whatever. Attacks on transgender women, particularly black and other transgender women of color. Of course, it's color. I mean, there's all these attacks. Support the Equality Act, the Pride Act, Every Child Deserves a Family Act, and other bills to prohibit discrimination by the U.S., the military, state or local governments, and private industry. Okay. I mean, a lot of this is support the PrEP Access and Coverage Act until universal health care is implemented. Develop and implement a LGBTQIA plus inclusive public education to combat bullying. Include LGBTQIA plus history in school curricula. Provide school and community trainings in LGBTQIA specific school counseling. Yeah, the federal government should not be involved in schools. I mean, let the states handle that. Federally prohibit the harmful practice of conversion therapy. Okay, fine. That doesn't work. That's fine, but that's something federal government should do at least. Fund housing relief programs for LGBTQIA plus youth who are disproportionately representative in unsheltered populations, homeless people, in other words. Remove punitive and cumbersome legal name change requirements and fees. Yeah, it's not that hard to change your name. You just go to the court, you fill out some paperwork, pay $25, get in front of a judge, and he or she will approve your name change. It's not that hard. It's usually handled by a probate judge. But yeah, yeah, act like it's extremely hard to change your name. I could change my name to whatever I wanted to today, not today, but within a week. I mean, it's not that hard to do. Declare trans murder and suicide rates a national emergency. And do what exactly? I mean, that takes that takes social society to actually address that. The federal government is going to do much to address that. Degender or add non-binary gender options to all federal public documents. So how would that work? I mean, I'm a male. I'm like degender. Like, does that mean that you wouldn't ask what gender you are? So how do you know how to classify people? Again, I don't understand any of this. Degender school dress codes and guarantee protection from discrimination as a result of dress and workplace. Whatever. This is why I won't vote. I won't vote for Jill Stein. Yeah, I don't blame you. I mean, I voted for her in 2016, but this wasn't as bad. I mean, it was more about economic and healthcare. That's really what she focused on. A lot of this is focused on LGBTQIA, FU, whatever. Let's see. Publish the original Equal Rights Amendment in the National Archives, effectively bring it into law. That's not a law. Publish the Equal Right Amendment in the National Archives doesn't mean it's a law. That's not true. The effectively bringing it into law. No, it's not. That just, you're publishing some amendment to the National Archives. Doesn't mean it's all of a sudden a law that the federal government has to follow. Prohibit insurance companies from denying transit farming procedures. Again, you might as well say the federal government should finance it. Remove trans medicalist language from all educational materials relating to trans individual. I have no idea what trans medicalist means, but it's in quotes, so that's what it says. Specifically prohibit disciplining. Damn, I spent nearly an hour on this. I got to wrap this up and move on. Pass legislation, blah, 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 outlaw misgendered imprisonment nationwide, end gay panic and trans panic defense for violent crimes. Nobody accepts the gay panic defense anymore. The judges don't even allow it. And trans panic, I don't know whether that's been used in defense. Maybe it has, and I don't know about it. Prevent and repeal any legislation that purports to protect religious liberty at the expense of rights of others. So, yeah, I'm done with that. I mean, I didn't even realize I spent an hour, on this. So yeah, it goes on, but I don't really want to go on with that. Let me turn on my light. It's getting dark. Here we go. Okay. It's about the economy, stupid. Yeah, 100%. This is an economic election. It isn't like social justice warrior election. Fuck that degender non-binary option shite. Biology's recognized two gender sexual proclivities are adult choices should not be taught in elementary school, and maybe discussed it in high school. Of course, I'm 100% in agreement. That's going way too far. So I'm done with that story. Let's move on to my next story. I shouldn't have spent an hour on that. Nowhere near an hour on that. That was a bit ridiculous. And I didn't realize I was going that long. So, all right, let's see. So, anyways, let's get to this. Donald Trump, CNN is panicking about the national election polls because as we're going to find out in this video, Trump is winning. Not only is he winning almost all battleground states, but he's also increased his support among minority communities. Oh no! In fact, here's a quote: "The Trump coalition becoming more diverse," which is scaring them to death. I mean, they always assume CNN assumes, and the corporate media always assumes that the Trump, diverse communities are always Democrats. So that's always the assumption here. And this time they're wrong. This time they're totally fucking wrong, and they're scared to death of it. So, as you can see in the Sunbelt states here, which is a lot of minorities, and there's a lot of Hispanics in these states, and African Americans and other minorities. Nevada, Trump is up by 13 points. Georgia, Trump is up by 9 points. Arizona, Trump is up by 6. These are states that are full of Hispanics, full of African Americans, full of other minorities. And Trump is leading in these states. In fact, Biden won Nevada in 2020, and he won Georgia, and he won Arizona. That's changed. Trump is up by 6 points, 9 points, and 13 points each. In the Great Lakes, Trump is up, I think, by 2 points, it says there. Wisconsin, he's up by a point, and Michigan, Biden is up. So pretty much the only swing state he's winning is Michigan. And Pennsylvania, I think he's winning too, but it's not listed there. Trump is winning. A dead dog could beat Biden at this point. Yeah. Hell, you could resurrect Ronald Reagan and he would crush Joe Biden right now. So the ghost of Ronald Reagan can beat Joe Biden.
These Sunbelt battleground states, frankly, for the Joe Biden campaign, these numbers are an absolute disaster. The smallest lead is in Arizona for Donald Trump. He's up 6. Look at this, 9 in Georgia, 13 in Nevada. My goodness gracious, my God. That is a huge lead. No Democrat has lost that state since John Kerry lost it back in 2004.
Oh my goodness gracious, my God! I mean, this shouldn't be happening. Trump shouldn't be winning.
How about these Great Lake battleground states? This is something that the Joe Biden campaign can work with. Look, Pennsylvania, Donald Trump up 3, but that's well within the margin of error. Wisconsin, Donald Trump up 1, well within the margin of error. And actually, a Joe Biden lead well within the margin of error, up a point here. This they can work with the Joe Biden campaign. This, the Donald Trump campaign, absolutely loves, and it looks like a lot of the other polling on the Sun Belt battlegrounds.
When you're looking into the numbers, why do you think Biden is doing better in the Great Lakes and Trump is doing so much better in the Sun Belt?
Yeah, the Trump coalition is changing. That's basically what's cooking here. This is at least one of the big.
All right, look at these numbers. In 2020, Trump's voting base was 84% white, 13 non-white minorities. In 2024, the polling shows Trump's voting coalition has white people at 78%, non-white went up to 19%. So that's a 6-point difference. And that could honestly decide the election. If those numbers hold, as I suspect they will, because I'm gonna give you guys my opinion on why Latinos are gonna vote more for Trump than people realize at the end of this. But yeah, it's 78% to 19%. So Joe Biden's base has most likely become more whiter than it was in 2020. All right. Dr. Nick says you got Sabs and the likes talking about Chicanos as others. I don't know about that. I haven't really watched Sabby Sabs that much lately. So I'll take your word for it. Sabby keeps censoring me, Dr. Nick. She's a bit too holy for me. I mean, I'm sorry that she's censoring you. There's no reason to do that. I mean, I don't censor my chat. I mean, Sabby has some blind spots. I mean, I try not to have blind spots, even though we all ultimately do. And if you guys call me out on it, please do if you notice it, because I don't want to have blind spots. But yeah, most political commentators, most people in this space do have blind spots. And I'm not going to say I don't have blind spots, but it's possible that I do. So let me finish
The big reasons why. So this is among likely voters in all these battleground states we just spoke about. Back in 2020, 84% of the Trump campaigns, the Trump coalition was white. Look where it is now. It's 78%. The non-white portion of the Trump coalition, it was 13% in 2020. Look at this now. It's 19%.
See, look at that. Sunbelt states tend to be more diverse than Great Lake states. New York Times Siena poll, College, April 28th to May 9th. So this poll is a couple of weeks old, but yeah, look at that. Sunbelt states tend to be more diverse. And as Dr. Nick says, yes, those are all old Mexican territory. New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado, Nevada, all these states. California at one point belonged to the to Mexico. I have mine, but I don't see them. Yeah, I mean, we all do have blind spots. So I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I don't have blind spots. Of course I do. But I just, I haven't really noticed them yet. So we'll see. We'll see if I get called out on a blind spot eventually.
Percent. So the Trump coalition is becoming more diverse. And of course, those Sunbelt battleground states are more diverse than the Great Lake battleground states.
You're looking at the Nevadas and the Arizonas here.
Of course, if you look at Nevada, Arizona, heavy Hispanic population, Georgia, heavily African-American population, with the Michigan does have some black voters in it, but Pennsylvania and Wisconsin are heavily, heavily white.
That's very interesting. Yeah. Okay, add it all up. What does this say about where the race stands right now? We're talking Electoral College and the race to 270.
Yeah.
Biden's fucked. That's what he's about to say.
The race to 270. It's advantage Donald Trump, but he's not.
So you look at the map there. Nevada and I think that's New Mexico. That's Arizona. Okay. Nevada, Arizona, and Georgia are all leaning red. Trump is at 268 right now, and that's without the Great Lakes and Nevada and Arizona. So all he has to do, if this map holds, all he has to do is win either Georgia, Arizona, or or Nevada to become president. He has as long if he gets all these Sunbelt states that are leaning red, I don't think he needs any of the. He doesn't need Pennsylvania, Michigan, or Wisconsin. So yeah, they're in a panic over there. CNN. I mean, they're literally like, "Oh my God, look at these polls, and we have to do something about this. So Trump can't become president again." Blah 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 blah. Blah. So Trump's already at 268. So let's see what they say here.
But he's not over the 270 mark just yet. All right. So if we flip Nevada, Arizona, and Georgia here in your
Just yet, but he's there. He's basically one state away from winning.
lighter shades of pink, you add them to the states, and of course the second congressional district up in Maine, which Donald Trump won last time around, that gets him to 268 electoral votes. If we keep Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania in the too close to call category, along with Nebraska's second congressional district, if we keep,
I mean, he just accidentally like Freudian slipped there. He didn't say if Democrats keep. He said if we keep. Like we, it keeps saying we. If we keep, not if Democrats keep. So he kind of had a Freudian slip there.
Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania in the too close to call category, along with Nebraska's second congressional district, Joe Biden at 225. So it's advantage Donald Trump, but Joe Biden does at this point have a path to 270.
Yeah, and right now, as you
it's a very narrow path. I mean, he would have to win Wisconsin, Nevada, and Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania in order to even have a shot to get at 260, get to 270. Because if he loses most of the Great Lakes again, and he loses Nevada and Georgia and Arizona, then he's definitely going to lose, and it's going to be a landslide. It's going to be an absolute landslide. So, yeah, that's it. That's that. I mean, it's Trump is going to have 270 by August. I mean, the polling's going to get worse. The polling is going to get worse with Trump. I mean, it's not like it's going to get any better. It's going to get a lot worse. Oops. Why won't this? All right, so that's that. Now let's get rid of that for now. There I go. Yeah. All right, so let's look at the next story. And I'll tell you guys the reason why I think Hispanics in particular are going to vote for Trump. Because look, ultimately what Hispanics are much more socially conservative than, most other minorities. Because you could see in, for example, countries like Peru and countries like these Central American countries, a lot of them are banning gay marriage. A lot of them are banning any type of trans rights or anything like that. That they are much more family values, much more conservative in Central America than so in Mexico too, because I don't know about 100% about Mexico's gay rights or trans rights situation, but I do know that they're much more conservative. So let's see. Where's that video I wanted to cover next? I don't see it here. Let's see. Nope. I didn't save it, of course. So just bear with me 1 second. Yeah, I mean, so they're much more conservative. So when these people start coming into the country and start voting, then you're going to see a situation where a lot of them are going to look at Democrats and liberals like, the hell is wrong with these people? They're talking about allowing kids to transition to the other sex, even though they're kids, and then they're also talking about giving rights to these people. I mean it goes to them. It goes too far. To a lot of Latinos, it goes too far. So they're gonna look at the Republicans, in particular Trump, like, yeah, let's just vote for Trump. I mean, at least he's more rational on this issue than these Democrats, who run their mouths about they virtue signal about how they're pro, how they're pro trans and stuff. Gay people, they can put up with it more, even though a lot of the countries that they come from do ban gay marriage and the practice of gay people. So, and they're going to look at Trump as like, yep, I'm going to vote for Trump. That's why in that poll you see the numbers of minorities going up. In my opinion, in my theory, from 13 to 19%, because you're seeing a lot more Latinos going for Trump due to his socially conservative policies. So that's the main reason why. And also, a lot of Latinos are sick and tired of the economic policy of Democrats. I mean, they are totally against it, and which is why in my opinion, they will ultimately vote for Joe Biden. I mean Donald Trump, and we'll see what happens on election day. But I don't care who wins. What I'm going to do is I'm going to buy a bottle of wine on election day, and I'm going to sit down. I'm going to watch the numbers come in, and I'm going to laugh my ass off all night. I suspect Trump will win, but I'm gonna laugh at liberals and Biden supporters and watch them melt down all night, especially if Trump's gonna win. And hell, I might do a live stream and just sit here and just look at the polling and talk to you guys and laugh my ass off, and have people come in and out of the stream all day long. I'll host it. I mean, I don't care. But yeah, that's my plan. That's my tentative plan for election day, at least. So yeah, I have time. Let's get to this story. We're gonna see some high school nonsense in Congress, where we're gonna see AOC, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Jasmine Crockett, that chick, and we're gonna see them fight. And it's gonna sound like high school, and it's gonna sound very annoying. But we'll go through it. It's like 3 minutes long, and
I'd like to know if any of the Democrats on this committee are employing Judge Merchan's daughter.
Please tell me what that has to do with Merrick Garland.
Oh, Goldman, that's right.
is
He's
she a porn
advising.
star?
Okay.
He's advising who? What?
What?
Do you know what we're here for? You know we're here about AG.
I don't think you know what you're here
President.
for.
Well, you the one talking about. I guess
I think your fake eyelashes are messing up
No,
what you're
ain't
reading.
nothing.
Hold on.
Listen.
Order.
Mr. Chairman,
That's beneath
would
even
you
order.
please regain
Order.
order
Well,
of
I think the fake eyelashes are, getting in your way. I mean, this is high school. This is 100% high school, guys. I mean, this is going to devolve and get worse.
your committee?
Order.
I do have a point of order, and I would like to move to take down Ms. Green's words. That is absolutely unacceptable.
That's absolutely unacceptable. I mean, what? I mean, AOC sounds like she's telling on Marjorie Taylor Greene to the teacher, like the chairman is the teacher, and she's like, "That's absolutely unacceptable that she said that about my friend." That's
Acceptable. How dare you attack
meeting
the
will suspend,
physical
meeting will
appearance of another
suspend.
person?
Are your
Move
feelings hurt?
her words down.
Aw.
Oh, girl, baby girl.
Oh, really?
Don't even play. with
Baby
me.
girl?
We're gonna,
I don't
we
think
are going to
so.
move, and we're going to take your words down.
I
Thank you very
second that motion.
So who will have to pay? Okay. Ms. Green agrees to strike her words.
I believe she
Chair
needs to
recognizes
apologize. No. She needs
Perry.
to
Okay,
apologize.
hold on. Then after Mr. Perry's going to be recognized, then Ms. Green.
I'm not.
this chairman needs like a mute button, because this is gonna get worse and just catty, between these three. He needs a mute button. I mean, like, okay, fuck you people. I'm gonna mute you while I say what I have to say, because this is ridiculous, and it gets worse.
Has 4 minutes and
Apologizing.
21
Well, then
seconds.
Okay,
you're
reserve
not
the right to
striking your
object.
words.
I am
Mr.
not
Chair.
apologizing.
Now let's go. Come on, guys.
Why don't you debate me?
Mr. Chairman, the
it's
minority.
pretty
No,
self-evident.
You're not.
Yeah, you're
out
not-
of order.
you don't have enough
You're out of order.
intelligence.
Chair recognizes Mr. Perry.
Okay, move to strike
I'd
the.
like to
I
strike
move to
those
strike the
words
lady's
as well.
words.
I would like to
Order.
strike
Strike
those
the
as
lady's
well.
words again.
I don't know what's being said
That's
here.
too-
It's like there's yelling and screaming at each other. I mean, I don't understand what's being said here by anybody.
Request to strike. That's 2 requests to strike.
Oh, they cannot take the words.
There's another motion to strike her words again. Please
All right.
get
Okay.
your members under
Here's
control.
the correct apology. Ms. Green, do you ask unanimous? Do you agree to unanimous consent to strike your words?
I repeat again for the second time. Yes, I'll
All
strike
right.
my words,
That-
but I'm not
all right.
apologizing.
Without objection. Without
Not
objection.
apologizing.
Chair, 21 seconds.
Mr. Chair, point of order.
I couldn't be in Congress. I could not do this. I mean, I'm trying to conduct a hearing about an important issue. I'm assuming about, I guess, Trump, because every hearing in Congress now is about Trump. So yeah, and they're keep interrupting me with point of orders and having words stricken from the record and all this other nonsense and calling each other names. And I'm like, I don't know how people can be in Congress like this when you're trying to conduct a hearing, and it's just ridiculous. I'm getting a headache, and
Ms. Crockett.
I'm not even
I'm
there.
just curious, just to better understand your ruling. If someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
A what now?
He's like, of what now? I don't even understand what you said, woman. I mean, this is ridiculous. By the way, Jasmine Crockett, I always called her. She's like the ghetto black girl of Congress. And I mean, it's like I recognize that cadence and that cattiness from the streets here, where I live at. It's like that's what she reminds me of. Just a standard ghetto black woman. I mean, she embarrasses herself time and time again. And it's another example how she embarrasses herself. I mean, she just starts fighting with Marjorie Taylor Greene for no reason. Here comes AOC to defend her like she's some kind of hero or something.
Chairman, I make a motion to strike those words.
I don't think that's
Hold
a
on.
I'm
parliament.
trying to find clarification on what qualifies.
Chairman, motion to
I had
strike
no
those
idea what
words.
you just said.
We're not gonna do this. Look,
She's being disingenuous. I mean, she knows she was attacking Marjorie Taylor Greene and calling her white blonde-haired butch or whatever she said. And she should have said directly to her instead of saying it indirectly like that. And said, "Oh well, I'm just trying to get clarification." No, she's being disingenuous. She's attacking Marjorie Taylor Greene, again, and starting this fight all over again.
look, you guys earlier literally just.
You just voted to do
Y'all did
it.
it first, so you
You
don't want to
guys
talk about
voted to do it.
Order.
I'm trying to get clarification.
Look it, calm down.
No, because this
I
is
would
what
like
y'all
to get
do.
through proceedings.
So I'm trying to
Hey,
get
Miss
clarification.
Crockett, you're not
Y'all wanna
recognized.
play
Miss
games.
I can't hear
Crockett.
you with your
And you
yelling.
don't want
Calm
me to
down.
Be,
Can
no,
you please calm
don't
down?
tell me to calm down.
Calm down.
This sounds like an argument I would hear on the streets here where I live at. Like, don't tell me to calm down, you blah, 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 blah. And it's like, oh my God, I'm getting a headache.
Because y'all talk
calm
noise,
down.
and then you
You're
can't
out of
take
control.
Because if I
Look,
come,
Chairman,
if I
can
come
we
and
send her
talk
outside to
shit
take a
about
break
her,
for 5
y'all
minutes?
gonna have a problem.
And that's Lauren Boebert there who's talking now. I didn't even see her there. She wasn't really involved until now at the end here. Oh God, it just gets worse.
Mr. Chairman.
All right, chair.
I don't know why
Okay.
you're
Order.
acting
Chair
like
now
that.
recognize.
All right, that's that. Thank God. I mean, that was just embarrassing. Was she trying to find her real dad? It's too much. I mean, I always call Jasmine Crockett the black ghetto girl of Congress. I mean, Bolbert was there too at the end, very briefly. I didn't even recognize her until I heard her talk, and I looked. It's like, oh, there's Lauren Bolbert. So yeah. So that's that. That was total high school nonsense. I mean, that was just like straight up embarrassing. I mean, it was like, how could these are not the best of the best that we're sending to Congress. These are like the worst. Like these are like the dumbest and worst people that are sent to Congress because they're the only ones interested in being politicians. Like most people who are good and want to make good in this world and want change or everyday regular citizens are not in politics. They're not in Washington. These are self-serving, power-hungry assholes who are all in Congress and have gigantic egos, which is why they're all melt down as soon as they're slightly criticized, or they're called names like Marjorie Taylor Greene called AOC or a name or whatever. And here comes the meltdown. Here comes a big high school catty fight for no reason, other than it's not even about the hearing. It was about Marjorie Taylor Greene saying that the other girl, Jasmine Crockett, has fake eyebrows. That's how this whole thing started, which I'm pretty sure she does have fake eyebrows. Why is she melting down over that? But again, we have. Hey, D's here. He said our politicians are more into getting clicks on the internet. Yeah, because they want more attention on the internet, which is why they post these things and virtue signal and grandstand. Because ultimately, because ultimately they want, they want the attention, they want the grandstanding virtue signaling. So let's see. So yeah, I forgot to mention this is what I forgot to talk about. Donald Trump and Joe Biden finally agreed to debates. So let's discuss that. So they finally agreed to two debates. One of them is supposed to take place in June at some point. Oops. Again, Biden, Trump. So they agreed to debates finally. I think there's supposed to be two debates. There's there's supposed to be two debates. Trump wants more debates, but apparently the Joe Biden campaign rejected more debates, which I'm not surprised by because they're all cowardly as all hell. So it has to be Joe Biden who doesn't wanted to take out. So let's look at this art. It's from Politico. They finally agreed to some debates. Let's see. Let's do that. Let's do that. Make this a little bit bigger. Already big enough. Trump's team has a few demands for Trump debate. A major one: no crowd. They don't want any fan. They don't want any audience at all, and they didn't even admit it. It says here in the second part: Trump feeds off the crowd. They give him life. We wanted to take that away. So yeah, they openly admit that they don't want Trump looking as good in these debates because he feeds off a crowd, which is true. Blah, blah, blah. When Donald Trump took the stage at CNN town hall in Manchester, New Hampshire 1 year ago, the crowd of his supporters roared and jeered all throughout the event, overwhelming the moderator and effectively taking control of the events. The president's advisors noticed. They resolved in private that Biden ever faced Trump on the debate stage, he'll be no more in the peanut gallery. So they refused to have an audience because they're afraid of the way the audience would react being pro-Trump and anti-Biden. So they're desperately trying to avoid that. The demand that came part of re-election campaigns agreed upon proposal to Trump this week for two general election debates, one in June and one other one in September. An empty TV studio could, Biden age field, deprive the GOP rival of a major advantage when they face off. If I'm Trump, I wouldn't agree to this. I mean, you would want an audience there. I wouldn't agree to sit like no, where if you insist on that, we're not having a debate, I guess. And since I'm winning, that's going to affect you more than it affects me. There are several conditions that the Biden team felt necessary in order to agree to a debate with the former president. Among them was at least one forum that take place before the start of early voting, and that the hosts weren't from outlets with ideological bent towards Trump. So they don't want any Fox News, moderators. But CNN, MSNBC ones are okay, I'm sure, which has a ideological bent towards Biden. But in interviews with more than half a dozen officials and advisors who were not authorized to discuss the private conversations, the issue of crowd was consistent. Among the other concerns that the audience noise could disadvantage Biden, who sometimes has trouble hearing amid a din. All right, so Biden has trouble hearing. So in other words, like, no, we can't have an audience because Biden can't hear. Well, that's his problem. That shouldn't be Trump's problem. They also wanted to ensure that there's a clean tempo cadence to the debate and not turn into shouting match or spectacle. Biden aides had envisioned using the forums to pummel Trump on abortion rights in response to the COVID pandemic and threats to democracy. For that reason, they're also pleased that the debate would appear to involve microphones that can be cut off and a candidate's speech is not their turn. Yeah, I mean, Biden did that too in his debates with Trump, so I don't know why, this is not just about Trump. Biden did that too. They're trying to make an overproduction special effect debate with Biden would not look so bad. Yeah, I mean they are desperate to try to give these debates, a major advantage to Joe Biden. If I were Trump, I wouldn't agree to any of this. It's like, yeah, I mean, you need these debates more than I do because you're losing. So if you if I'm going to give you any debates, then you're going to have to, drop most of these requests because they're mostly ridiculous. I think it does matter if you watch Trump. There's a big part how he energizes himself. The longtime Barack Obama aide said, and I don't think it would have some impact on him that he can't play to the crowd and doesn't have that type of energy. That sort of modular energy that crowd offers. I think that Biden people, they won in negotiations on these 3 points. It's a debate without a crowd. It's a debate with any third party candidates, and it's an early debate. And those three things make it about as good a situation he's going to get. So I wouldn't agree to any of that if I were Trump. It was like, okay, well, I don't need this debate because I'm winning. So you need this debate more than I do. And I would try to avoid debates if I were Trump. It's like he's kind of like walking into Biden's, mistakes there. So yeah, they agreed to do two debates, one in June and one in September. Usually the debates are in September and October. They're not in in the summer in June. I mean, it's like I don't think that'll matter much toward the election results. A June debate and the September debate again. That's like too early, and it gives them 2 months before the election. I'm not sure what difference these debates are going to make on the results ultimately. While Axelrod was bullish on how negotiations went, other Democrats have remained skittish. Excuse me, about the prospect of Biden taking the stage with Trump at all, as many incumbent presidents running for re-election struggle in their first debate, as Obama did in 2012 against Mitt Romney, either because they have not been sharpened by the rigors of a primary calendar or rarely face tough questions from aides, or both. Trump may suffer from the same problem as he skipped the GOP primary and rarely faces unfriendly interviewers. But the issue with Biden, who has largely foregone tough sit-down interviews in media outlets during his time in his office, while anyway, most of the media have been pro-Biden most of his administration. So he's even if he sat down with media, he wouldn't face tough questions anyways. While some Democrats close to the White House suggested that Biden skipped the debates entirely, most senior advisors felt that he could not, for fear that it would fuel public perception that Biden wasn't up to the rigors of the job itself. Yeah, well, I mean, if I were Trump, I'd be like, I'm not doing any debates until you agree, until you drop those ridiculous demands. Because I'm not doing any of that. You need, like I said 3 or 4 times, Biden's losing, so he needs his debates more than Trump does. But the debates come with risk beyond Biden being out of political shape. Trump is prone to bring up unsavory topics designed to make Biden uncomfortable. Yep. Which is why I'm surprised Biden wants to debate. I mean, I'm sure he's going to bring up all the controversies and all the scandals of Joe Biden's administration. So I don't know. Joe Biden wants that type of heat. He'll bring up all kinds of stuff that is irrelevant and painful, says Richard Blumenthal, Democrat of Connecticut. He's willing to take the hits, painful and unfair, bric-a-bracs that Donald Trump would throw below the belt punches. Blumenthal said he believed that the public would regard Trump as a bully for doing that again. But one way the Biden camp felt it could avoid some of that circus, including the surprise guest, was ensure no crowd was allowed. Again, most Americans, don't they tend to like that stuff. They like a person that calls out these politicians and stuff. Someone like Trump, which is why he won in 2016, because ultimately he bullied Hillary Clinton and pointed out all her crimes and stuff, and that's how Trump won. And they're afraid it'll happen again. Biden aides on Thursday privately acknowledged the debates could still fall through. That they came together at all was regarded as a surprise. Both campaigns declared that they would not participate in the Commission of Presidential Debates proposed schedule. But even if it's skewed the GOP primary debate calendar, Trump campaign reached out to television networks more than a year ago to begin gauging interest about hosting a possible debate, according to a person familiar with the outreach and granted anonymity to discuss the private conversations. So yeah, I mean, I don't care where debates happen or not because they'll probably be useless, to the ultimate results of the election. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if Biden just came in from the basement in the White House, because it's just this whole thing is just goddamn absurd. The nature of the president's debates participation is still taking shape. White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain will be involved. Some advisors believe that Biden has a chance to get a head start in his practice, with Trump likely being bogged down in a Manhattan court for his criminal money payment trial for at least another week. But the president's plate is also quite full too. He's set to go head overseas in early June for a trip commemorating the anniversary of the D-Day and the G7 summit. So they're trying to schedule these debates on purpose, the Democrats, for when Trump's on trial. That's what it seems like. He's like a bunch of trumped up nonsensical charges, but which is why they're trying to kind of, oh yeah, he's busy with his trial, so he can't be prepared, for the debate. But prepping for Trump, some Democrats argue, may not be an overly complicated venture, partly because the former president often just has one speed, audience present or not. He's the Trump that we see outside the courtroom, the Democratic operative who played Trump for Hillary's 2016 debate prep. Yeah, Hillary failed miserably in those debates, which is a lot of the reason why she lost. The Trump that we see on True Social, the Trump that we've seen during the primary, the Trump that we see after January 6th, the Trump that we might have seen during the 2020 campaign. And he's not, he is what he is. He isn't going to fucking change. And quite frankly, Joe Biden isn't ready for the heat that these debates are going to bring up. But the thing with Trump, he doesn't care. He'll do whatever he has to in order to win. And he'll, because in 2020 the issue with him was he had the COVID pandemic. And no matter who was president, the COVID-19 pandemic, if you were president during a pandemic, you're going to lose. You're absolutely going to lose. It isn't like you're going to somehow win. And here's the thing, Trump nearly won that election, even with the COVID-19 pandemic and all the issues with the voting and stuff. He still nearly won. He somehow nearly managed to finish that election. And quite frank, I was like, I think Trump would have won if it wasn't for the shenanigans during election day. He would have won re-election bid. All right, so what time is it? I have a few more minutes. So, Biden. Oh God, not the Ukraine is a dead soul like Biden. Hitler debating himself. Ukraine is done as a country. Look, let's bottom line Ukraine for a second. People, the only reason why Ukraine is even, the reason why Ukraine even still has a chance because the U.S. is still giving him money for weapons because they're running out of people, they're running out of bodies to fight the Russians. I mean, eventually there's going to have to be a peace deal there. And the Russians will take most of eastern Ukraine because it's all ethnically Russian anyways, and that'll be the end of the war. More Bobert bikini shots. I actually saw that on Twitter, X, whatever, and I mean those are pretty good deep fakes there. I mean, it's like, oh god, those are pretty good deep fakes there. I mean, they have to be deep fakes. I don't think Bobert would go around posting pictures like that on X or Twitter, X, whatever they want to call it. So let's go to the Pod Save America boys. I want to play this real quick. I have not. I just came across this now looking through X. I have to call it X now because they officially changed it to X.com. So these are the Pod Save America boys. These are the former Obama administration officials who have a shitty podcast that nobody sees. But I just came across this clip, and Biden has to debate early because people need to see Donald Trump. Most voters never ever see Donald Trump. What are you talking about? He has a rally nearly every day, unless he, has a trial and stuff. But he has a rally nearly every day. We see him. We see plenty of Trump. He went to Wildwood, New Jersey, and acted like a nut. He drew. Did you guys see that those pictures of that rally? He drew nearly 10,000 people in New Jersey to that rally. He drew nearly 10,000 people. So we're looking at a situation where if Trump is drawing 10,000 people to a blue state like New Jersey, where I live at, you're looking at a situation where I'm not saying Trump will win New Jersey. He won't probably, but if it's going to be close, then Trump is definitely going to win in a landslide. So let's take a look at these podcast. Yeah, pod. What the hell is their podcast called? And I'm butchering it. Pod Save America. I mean, I totally just forgot and butchered their name for this podcast that nobody watches, or at least nobody that I know watches.
It is an unfair situation that the way this will be covered and the way the sort of the public is viewing it because of how much questions about Biden's age have taken hold in a way for him in a ways they haven't for Trump. And I think that's how a lot of pundits talk about it. They have to do it because this is going to be a live, nationally broadcast cognitive test. I don't think that's really why they had to do it. They have to do it because they need people to see Donald Trump.
Yeah, that's what I'm. Yeah.
Most voters never, ever, ever see Donald Trump. Donald Trump went to Wildwood, New Jersey.
That's not true. Like I said, we see plenty of him. He's holding a rally nearly every day. I mean, and the reason why we don't see it is because the corporate media doesn't broadcast it anymore. So that's why they say we never see Donald Trump, except that he's at these rallies every day, which I see online. And Trump drew nearly 10,000 people to that rally. Of course, he's not going to say that because it'll make Trump look good. But he acted like a nut. I'm not sure what that means. I mean, he's just the usual Trump. That's what he was like at that rally. By the way, I didn't go to that rally. I mean, I just want to even though I live in New Jersey, but I didn't go to that rally. The only rally I ever went to was a Bernie Sanders rally here in New Jersey in 2016. That's the only one I ever went to because in 2016, I was a big Bernie Sanders guy. Now I've completely I'm done with Bernie. But at the time, I was a huge Bernie Sanders supporter. Why is this doing that? Fuck. Let me finish this clip.
New Jersey and act like a nut, said insane things for 2 hours. And no one who was going to decide this election saw 1 second of it.
Nope.
And it's hard to reach people with ads. It's just, you got to do something really, really high profile.
Yeah, those are your Pod Save America boys who just lie to their teeth and making stuff up. Trump is everywhere. Yeah, Trump is everywhere. I don't understand why they're acting like Trump isn't. Trump is all over the internet. I mean, he's on X, he's on his True Social, he's on CNN talks about him all. I don't watch CNN that often, so I don't know whether they're showing his rallies or not, but they're definitely talking about him. So I don't know what these morons are talking about that, oh, no, Trump, you don't see Trump. No. The most Americans don't see Trump anymore. So now we have to do this big spectacle like a debate in order to make sure that Trump wins, or not Trump wins, make sure Biden points out how crazy Trump is. Except that we already know that about Trump. He was president for 4 years. They act like we don't know. They don't know. Americans don't know who Trump is. He was the president of the United States for 4 years. He's like going to win another election again. So the idea that Americans don't know. Oh, I was going to show this, but this is a Pod Save the torch-bearing mobs. Everyone making bank and talking about Trump. Oh, oops. This is a Spanish-speaking clip. I know Spanish, but I'm sure most of my audience doesn't. So let's get rid of that. I thought, this was in English. I thought it was an NBC News clip. But, but yeah, I mean, Donald Trump is, all over the internet. He's going to win this presidency again, most likely. And this is what's going to happen in 2024, 2025. Donald Trump is going to be inaugurated president in January 2025. And liberals are going to melt down like what happened in 2016. And there's nothing, and I'm going to love every second of it. Because it's like this meltdown was just absolutely epic. This is what's going to happen. I'm going to This is exactly what's going to happen in 2020. You could translate. It's a 1.5-minute clip. I might do it. I might go back to it, but this is what's going to happen on January 2025 again.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
That I will faithfully execute.
That I will faithfully execute.
The office of President of the United States.
The office of President of the United States.
And will, to the best of my ability.
And will, to the best of my ability.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
The Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
And Hail to the Chief is gonna play, and there's not, and liberals will melt down like they did in 2016. If you've seen those clips of the protest and that woman yelling and screaming like it was it was she was going through surgery without any anesthesia. So yeah, let me see if let me see if I can find. I closed the I closed the let me get rid of that because I don't want any copyrighted material to show up without, because I don't want to give myself a strike. So let me see. I don't know if I can find that clip again. Even though it's only a minute and a half clip, but it'll be a lot longer because because I'm gonna have to pause it and translate every 5 or 10 seconds because he perfect. So this is a Telemundo story about Trump, I think. So let's.
Bueno, en otras cosas, importante esta tarde, Donald Trump aceptó un cuarto debate con el presidente Biden, esta vez por NBC y por aquí, por su cadena.
Wait, is this last year's or this is this year's? Hold on, and this could be. Where's this clip?
Bueno, en otras.
Because as far he's talking about Trump agreed to a fourth debate, and I'm like, no, he didn't.
Que
It
llamó
says
la gran
2024.
comunidad.
So okay, I don't
Bueno,
know.
en otras cosas, importante esta tarde, Donald Trump aceptó un cuarto debate con el presidente Biden, esta vez por NBC y por aquí, por su cadena Telemundo.
Oh yeah, he's talking about the debate that Trump is going to air on NBC and Telemundo in Spanish-speaking audience.
A través de la red Truth Social, Trump.
This is Donald Trump's tweet or post on Truth Social. I have accepted a fourth debate with against President Joe Biden, this time on NBC and Telemundo. It's important, for Republicans, that we win our great Hispanic community. So that's what that post says. And El Chapo Biden.
Trump dijo que era importante para los republicanos ganar con lo que llamó la gran comunidad hispana.
Para la campaña de Trump es muy importante.
So this is, I think it's a Republican strategist. But yeah, they're going to talk about how Trump is important for Trump to win these debates, especially with the Latino voters, because I theorized, Latino voters are a lot more conservative, and Trump has a good chance of reaching a lot of Hispanic voters, especially if they recently came over able to vote. So.
Importante que el presidente haya aceptado participar de este cuarto.
Oh, he's the spokesman for Trump's campaign. The Spanish spokesman. That's what it says there.
Debate presidencial con NBC y la cadena Telemundo, particularmente porque eso destaca la importancia que nuestra campaña le da a una comunidad que se ha visto afectada gravemente por los desastres de la administración Biden.
Yeah, he's basically saying that it's important for Trump to go out and communicate with the Latino voters and try to get them to vote for him, instead of how disastrous the Biden administration has gone so far. So Latinos voters are patient, but this shit has gone too far. Yeah, I mean, it's I'm not recommending anyone to vote for Trump or Biden or vote at all. But what I'm telling you is, actually, that's not true. I'm telling you guys not to vote for Joe Biden. Other than that, you can vote whoever you want. Don't vote for Biden. Don't vote for Trump. You want to vote third party? Great. If you don't want to vote at all, I understand it, and in fact, I don't blame you.
En materia de economía, en materia de crisis fronteriza.
Bueno, la campaña del presidente Biden ya respondió. Dijo que el presidente solo hará los dos debates que.
All right. And this says President Biden made it clear about the terms of the debates, and he won't accept more debates. He's going to do the 2 debates they've agreed to, and that's it.
Que ya había pactado con Trump y que no van a participar en un debate sobre los debates. Según la directora de comunicaciones en español de esta campaña de Biden a Trump.
This is a campaign press release from Joe Biden. Trump doesn't care about the Latino community. The only thing he's doing is demonize them and accuse them of poisoning the blood of the country, which again is a 2016, 2017 quote taken out of context. Trump doesn't care about the Latino community. That's true, but he's just being a politician in order to get the Latino vote, which is a good chance he can get more votes, based off what I theorized before. Angel, you need to freelance as an interpreter. Thank you. I'm glad that you guys, are able to. I'm not translating word for word, but I am translating, the general idea of the segment, because if I do word for word, this minute 14 clip will be 15, 20 minutes long. So
No le importa a la comunidad latina y lo único que hace es demonizarla, acusarla de envenenar la sangre de la nación.
he's reading what I just read to you.
La campaña Biden-Harris deja la puerta abierta a que los medios que organizan los debates ya pactados hagan alianza con los medios latinos.
So basically, what he said there is the Biden campaign. The Biden campaign is trying to get agreements with Latino channels in order to air the debates, because they're not agreeing to any more debates. So now they're going to figure out how to get either NBC, Telemundo, or Univision to air these debates. Yeah, that guy is like, he's like a more of a model, right? Than an actual news guy. No problem, Sula Moon. Thank you everyone for joining me. Give me a like. Please subscribe. I have nothing else for you guys this week. So I'm gonna be wrapping up now. In fact, the Knicks are gonna. It's just the Knicks and Pacers game just started, so I'm just going to bounce out of here now in order to watch the game. So I appreciate everyone joining me. I appreciate the support and consistent chat throughout the show. If you haven't already, please like the stream. Please subscribe to the channels down below. All the INN information is down below in the description, and my personal link tree is down there in the description. Please, please give it, check out my channels, give me likes, please subscribe, all that good stuff. And tomorrow is, if you're a wrestling fan, is Pro Wrestling Talk. Is at 8/7 Central with my co-host Steph, and we're hoping maybe to have Dee and Greg join us, even though Greg is from Houston, Texas, and they just had a major tornado down there. So I hope everybody's okay. I hope he's okay, and hope you be able to join us tomorrow. And I hope that you will be able, everybody in the chat, be able to join us. Thank you for watching, and I'm gonna go watch the Knicks game now. So hopefully the Knicks will advance to the Eastern Conference Finals, because the Rangers advanced yesterday, and this is huge. These teams are actually good, and yeah, there was it was a tornado in Houston, and Greg, was showing clips about how the I'm about to say the Astrodome, Minute Maid Park was destroyed. They during a game, it was destroyed and stuff, or window paneling was destroyed, and there were trees down. It was really bad tornado. So yeah, I hope Greg is okay. He seems to be okay. He's still tweeting and stuff, but he's still posting on Twitter. But hope be able to join us tomorrow. But we'll see about that. We'll find out about that tomorrow. So thank you very much for joining me. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for Pro Wrestling Talk, and I'm gonna go watch the Knicks game. So have a great weekend, everybody.